We have with us today Harsh Razdan. Harsh is the leader for consumer and internet business at KPMG India. Harsh, thank you for taking time out for this discussion. What we have seen in the current scenario that some sectors have displayed greater resilience against the pandemic than the others. And just wanted to understand from you that what are some of these unexpected demand shifts, that you have noticed during the course of this pandemic, and also if you could highlight some of the notable short-term as well as the long-term changes that have been incorporated by some of the companies.
Yeah, thank you, Vandana, and a pleasure to be here. I think most of the changes which companies have sort of gone through are pretty visible and are visible to all of us. I think the biggest one being this foray into digital. A lot of work which companies to do used to involve people moving around physically in the marketplace, traveling. We've even seen that in the case of KPMG. But now I think it's all about how this can be done from a digital standpoint. That's one. Two, I think if you are a company which is a consumer company and your product has always struggled, the product would be struggling to reach the consumers like you and me, you could not have done without a e-commerce play. So clearly, I think the whole thing around e-commerce, B2B, B2C, and getting close to consumers around the digital aspect has been one of has been the second biggest change. And the third one, I guess, in my mind, is all around safety. In the past, consumers never used to worry as much as now about the shops they go into, how sanitized it is, how do you ensure that products are sort of stacked up, what kind of social distancing is there. But now I think it's going to be a critical element as you go forward. And this is the third element that companies will have to focus on and as they move forward.
So, in the current environment, nobody knows when the pandemic will end. So, in your view, how will retailers of non-essential goods essentially cope with the continued diminished demand for their products?
So I think you're right. In the temporary phase, the non-essential goods have taken some beating. Of course, those companies are trying to toy with the three elements that I mentioned to try and plug as much of a gap as possible. There are also elements in the non-essential goods which have picked up. For example, personal accessories. There have been things around things which have to be consumed at home, furniture, the right kind of chair for us to do work from home. And those are things which are coming up now. Of course, if the consumer demand has sort of taken a beating, it's not easy for these companies to come to relevance. But I think the best they can do is stay close to the consumer, stay connected to the consumer, build a loyalty connect with the consumer, continue to interact. Some of the retailers that I know of have now started off something called as assisted buying, which means that for your loyalty customers, if you are struggling on the website to get some goods, some particular sizes in apparel, the assisted buyer actually helps search it through for you and then calls you back saying, ma'am, this is something you were looking for. I'm sending it to your email. I can book it for you in case you would like it to be done. So I think there will be other ways in which they would have to try and stay connected to the consumer rather than the physical face-to-face interaction. It will now be around how easy they can make the shopping, how they can stay connected to the consumer, and when the demand does come back, hopefully they get a loyal consumer back.
So, Harsh, we are all aware that India has the highest retail density, especially with your mom and pop stores everywhere. How can they digitally build a home delivery or essentially a more of a hyper local delivery mechanism?
Mom and pop stores have actually a unique advantage in this situation. We always did think that the large retail or the e-commerce will have a very strong role to play. What I think can be a model that we will look at is that with multiple companies now looking at leveraging the retailers for home delivery What that means is that rather than supplying through a central warehouse, you may go through these mom and pop retailers and supply to people like you and me and our homes. If that's the connect we can establish, then you have the e-commerce players and the mom and pop retailers both sort of strung into one necklace, which can actually help the ultimate consumer, which is you and me.
So do you think Digital India movement has been impacted in the wake of this pandemic?
Yes, I think the Digital India movement has sort of been surely impacted in a positive way. In fact, when we've done a research across about 2,500 consumers over the last 2 months. We've realized that a lot of the payments have started happening through the digital route. Not only that, in the past, we'd always thought that the UPI route would be the best possible thing, but no, a lot of movement of payments have also happened to credit cards and alternative means. So I guess a huge push has happened towards how payments are going to happen through the digital route. Now, if you look at the ways in which people are purchasing products, even the purchase patterns have changed to the extent that you don't want to go out of home unless it's essential. So every possible product, which I'm sure you also realize, is getting delivered to our homes. So unless really necessary, we are not going out of home, and we prefer to actually pay through any kind of digital means rather than actually actual cash. So from the government perspective in India, a huge fillip, whether it is the ordering of goods, whether it's the delivery of goods, and even the payment of such products.
Right. And how do you think the consumer needs have shifted during this time?
Yeah, I think the consumer firstly has become, he or she has become very, very safety conscious, or health has become important to him or her. In the past, the consumer used to take it for granted, but now I think there will be a huge focus around it. So when you look at data, you also see there's a lot of impetus for purchase of vitamins and essential health supplements coming around in the Indian marketplace. You also see that the basic need of the consumer when he or she visits a store is all about how well hygiene is managed, how many people do you have in the store. Even when you look at salons, and I was sort of observing some of the salons, the number of people entering the salon have become 1/3 or 1/4, and there's a huge amount of health impetus even in the store. So I think the consumer used to take health for granted. Now he or she takes health in a serious manner, and not only does he or she prepare sort of take vitamins, etc., but also expects that when he or she visits a store. Apart from that, the second biggest thing which I've seen in the marketplace, and this came around in a survey, is a lot of our consumers are behaving in a value conscious. Means is that in the past there was a reasonable, not a guarantee, but reasonable level of assurance of the kind of job you're in, and perhaps that job would continue for the next 4 or 12 months or 24 months. Now, as you're not that sure in terms of where you may be and as to what kind of adversity may hit you or your family, you are trying to ensure that you have enough savings in your pocket to take care of the adversity. So as a result of that, you are actually looking at more value-based products, trying to cut out non-essentials, keep some savings for the worst day if possible. Hence, the products of luxury goods, etc., will have a little bit of a struggle as they go and sell in the market, and the essentials will have a run for themselves.
And in this current atmosphere, which sectors do you really think are the sunrise sectors?
So I think a lot of the consumer sectors are sunrise. Let me start with agri. A huge amount of money pouring in from the government. We hear of a lot of financial schemes, a lot of support from the government. So I think whether you're a private sector company or something which is related to the government sector, a huge impetus is expected. I think the second sector which we can look out is around e-commerce. This is again a sector which, irrespective of the kind of product that you're trying to do, it will go up and will increase. That is what the consumer is demanding, and I guess that will see upward momentum. The third sector will be around FMCG. And in FMCG, I'll cut it out into 2 or 3 parts. Maybe the food beverages side is something which will have a huge amount of positive momentum, but whereas personal care may see a little bit of muted momentum as we go forward. these are three big sectors which will see a positive momentum in the consumer markets space going forward.
So Harsh, like you rightfully mentioned, the whole nature of business has essentially changed. And what we've recently seen is that retailers have now started getting involved with this setup in setting up these dark stores. In your view, how do you think some of the main players in the e-commerce market, how do you think have they tackled this lockdown?
The e-commerce players, I think, have done really well, to be honest. They have taken a lot of safety measures in terms of the staff that they are now working with. They have taken a lot of safety measures in terms of the warehouses, the supply chain that is being taken care of. There's a huge momentum they've had, which is positive in terms of the demand pull through coming around. Their big challenge has been about managing the whole the labor that works with them, the people who work in the stores, and being able to give good quality and safe service. So I think most of the e-com players are taking to it well. But I also know that they are under huge stress because the kind of demand uplift they've seen or throughput going through e-commerce is huge, and it's not easy for anyone to fulfill the demand with the kind of challenges we're having of health safety and the limited and the limited labor, the labor challenges that we've seen because of labor migration in India.
Right. And what are some of the changes that you think the companies have taken or have incorporated to stay in for the long haul?
Yeah, I think one big thing which most companies have done is that they have woven in the whole thing around safety. In the past, again, it was taken for granted. Currently, I see a lot of best practices around how you've taken insurance for all the extended workforce, if in case they were to be sort of having a health issue going forward. Secondly, I think a lot of companies have now looked at becoming much more leaner. In one way, they've looked at releasing real estate, optimizing real estate, workspace sharing that has become common. A third thing which I've seen among companies around, if you had contact centers, in the past you used to have those contact centers physically located, but some companies are trying to see if X percentage of the contact centers can actually manage out of home, because anyway the contact center employees are coming from very far. So why don't have them working out of their homes and release the real estate again for some of the contact centers they have. The fourth thing would be around, and most importantly, around alternate channels. In the past, there were very standard ways in which you get to consumers like you and me. The general trade, the modern trade, and e-commerce was small. But now there are multiple kinds of companies coming around, whether it be B2B, B2B2C, whether it is tie-ups to other routes. There are firms who had a strong distribution are now looking to layer on other products on their own distribution. So I think the marketplace is changing very fast as most companies look to optimize, become leaner, look at other people as allies to their own distribution and their own products much more openly. So I guess these are multiple things that companies are looking at. And I guess all of these center around the fact that you want to get to the consumer, get higher revenue, and get it much more efficiently.
So thank you, Harsh. That was really very insightful. We will definitely watch out for the two key reports that will be released later this month, primarily the consumer survey report and the best practices report. More on that when we chat later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vandana. Pleasure.